Now is the winter of our discontent. Oh no! Run! Was that the... That was the Simpsons Radioactive Man episode. Such a random thing to remember. Unless I'm wrong, in which case, you know, you're not perfect either, so what? The snow lay about, my neighbor did cometh in the evening, bearing a gift of tea. But marry, bitter was his drink, and when he left, I did fall prostrate on my table. 'Twas the tea alone did pass my lips that late hour, naught else. I was outside this bloke's window in the freezing cold all night, keeping an eye on his room. No one else visited his room but that short little brown-backed Eastern fella. Wait, what did you say? You are keeping an eye on Mr. Shamspeare's room all night? That's right. Of course, the bloke's window is all but blocked up, isn't it? But there is a little gap in the bricks where you can see into the room. So I spent the night trying to keep my teeth from chattering as I peered in through that. The question is, sir, why? Huh? Well, that's because he's on my list. What a piece of work is a man. Wherefore wouldst thou not stare in wonderment? What are you talking about? This buzzing busybody hath not part in this play. I pray thee, pay him no heed. Make no more ado about his tedious words. Oh, he looks like a bee. he's got like a backpack or something that's yellow and striped. What'd you say about me? Calm yourself. This court is concerned with what happened on the night in question, nothing more. Indeed, that is so. And as the testimony we have just heard clearly reveals, there was no one other than the accused present at the time who could have carried out this crime. Well, I believe this may be the final testimony of the trial. Now, counsel, the defense may proceed with the cross-examination. Yes, my lord. It is a little strange. Like, if we don't... All of the other Phoenix Wright games, and I feel like I've probably mentioned this while playing through... In fact, I mentioned it when I was playing through the last one, Spirit of Justice, where I was like, this is a little too similar to the game that came before it, right? You had Dual Destinies, and then you had Spirit of Justice, which just felt like more cases in the same game. And I wonder if we're going to run into that here, where it's a little too the same. Because, I mean, 1 through 3, 2 introduced the Magatama, which let you, like, have puzzles with consequences outside of court, where if you got things wrong, you know. And 3, did 3 introduce fingerprinting? Maybe? Like, there were little things that got added as you go along the way. And so far, I'm just now realizing it does seem like just a part 2 to the existing game, because it's all of the same characters. It's the same prosecutor, which you practically never repeat that. To go, the main prosecutor of the game comes back and is a prosecutor the whole time again. We'll see. I'll stop stalling now. Hold it! To be clear, by neighbor, are you referring to the defendant, Mr. Natsume? Oh, indeed, sire. Perchance thou wouldst that I call him the man from upstairs. And at what time did the mustachioed Nipponese visit you in your room? Our meeting was promised for the hour of 9, and lo did he come to tender a gift of fragrant tea. Details which are in accordance with the defendant's own testimony, yes. And we were broiled in such a literary debate as history hath not seen before. by which I presume he means the discussion about who was the stronger, Romeo or Juliet. I, Shamspeare, did play the part of young Romeo, whilst my neighbour played the fair Juliet. Each of us dressed as would our characters be to bring weight upon our merry experiment. I dare not imagine the scene. Frailty, thy name is woman. Canst thou imagine how dismayed I was? Yes, I had heard of the eastern art of jiu-jitsu, but ne'er did I dream 'twould be a skill practiced by the comely maiden. So wait, they kung fu fighted? The kicks were fast as lightning? They dressed up like Romeo and Juliet and had a jiu-jitsu fight. Also, jiu-jitsu? I don't think it comes from Japan. I think it comes from Brazil, if I'm not mistaken. Juliet beat Romeo up? This is not helping our case. I believe the court has heard enough about your earth-shattering literary debate. Perhaps you could reiterate your statement about the tea that the accused brought to your room. My liege, I am thy servant. Gladly would I do thy bidding.
Hold it!
Let me stop you there. Mr. Natsume left your room at 11 o'clock, but it wasn't until after 2 that the poison made you collapse. That amounts to more than 3 hours of missing time. Ah, I recognize that classic Shakespeare floss. Shakespeare, the original flosser. If the defendant had really put the poison into your tea, that 3-hour window of time is something you're going to have to explain. Gladly, 'tis an easy task. What? I did drink of the tea, not while my guest did tarry, but after he took leave of me. Faith, 'twas stone cold, but at 1 hour post midnight verily were my lips parched.
Objection!
That doesn't sound normal. Nay, 'tis quite ordinary, sire. After all, thou wouldst recall our fiery debate. Amidst such argument there'd be no time for fiery tea. Romeo and Juliet again. And who was the stronger? Mr. Shamspeare, in summary, allow me to confirm. Did you not come here with the intention of naming your attacker? But of course, my liege, 'twas the stooped lover of words did attempt to shuffle me off this mortal coil. Ugh. We all know what that means.
Hold it!
So, you didn't have any kind of evening meal, dinner, supper? Same thing. Same thing, you can't prove me wrong. Ha! Fie on luxury, fie on gluttony. To eat thrice daily is but a waste of time. Sorry? I would that my belly were full no more oft than the Are you alright? Are we going to Camelot? I would that my belly were full no more oft than the sun doth rise. Well, most heroic eating habits, I must say. Night and day do I fill my hours with learned study of the great bard and playwright. Hence is it that there doth not in my chamber be than the costumes of mine art. That would appear to be the case, as even a rodent was found starved to death in your room. Now that I think of it, it's not just food that was conspicuously missing from that room, is it? I don't recall seeing a single play or script anywhere. Or a bed. Or, I don't know, bathroom? For I have devoured them all. You've eaten them? Every word be within my skull. Didst thou imagine otherwise? Right. That wasn't misleading at all. Second thought. Let's not go to Camelot. It is a silly place. Which brings us to the conclusion that the only way the poison could have passed the victim's lips is in the tea. was outside this bloke's window in the freezing cold all night, keeping an eye on his room. But the windows of that house have all been filled in. A historical artifact of the now defunct window tax, which keeps coming up. Yeah, you're right there. All bricked up horribly. But as it happens, there's a little part of the brickwork at the bottom corner that's been opened up. I was looking in through that gap. Yes, there were a few bricks loose, weren't there? And for some strange reason, a couple of bars of soap lined up on the ledge outside as well. I don't like going around poking my chin other people's business, especially on freezing cold nights. But them's my orders, so that's what I'll keep doing, as long as there's breath in my body. So all the theatricals today. Out of interest, Mr. Meaderman, after the accused had left and returned to his own lodgings, did you see the victim leave the room at all? Nope, he never left. He was in that room the whole time as far as I'm concerned. And we can therefore discount the possibility of suicide. How can you be so sure of that? The police carried out a thorough investigation of the scene and found no receptacle for the poison, and since we know the victim didn't leave his room and hence didn't dispose of the poisoned container himself, it's clear that this was no attempted suicide. Only the culprit could have removed the receptacle. He could have ate it. He could have ate the vial that was full of poison. It's happened in a Phoenix Wright game at least twice before. No, only once. But it did happen. It did happen that there was a container that had contained poison and somebody ate it. Ah, yes, lucidly explained, Count. Thank you. It really was. You can't argue with the logic.
Hold it!
Objection, racism? You say a short little round-backed Eastern fella, so you can't be sure it was the defendant's man. How many other short, little, round-backed Nipponese with a mustache do you think there are in London? I will count them! Well, of course, it's only a narrow gap and it was quite dark, so I didn't notice the mustache. But he showed up at around 9, so I'm pretty sure of myself. And when the person you saw arrived, did he and Mr. Shamspear drink tea together? No, sorry, I couldn't say. Why not? Because I couldn't see into the room all that well, could I? What I did see was the silhouette of that little round-backed fellow wearing a pretty dress. And the pair of them started some kind of wrestling match. I tell you, I didn't know what to make of it. People these days. I suppose that was the Romeo and Juliet championship battle getting underway. The beginning of the tournament filler arc. Mr. Meterman, allow me to confirm one final time. Apart from the accused, can you state with certainty that no one else visited the victim on the night in question? No question. Gas man's honor. Oh? My lord. Goodness me. Yes, Mr. Foreman. I've kept my mouth shut and listened up to now, but this has gone on long enough. Are you all with me? Yes. Are we to understand that you, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, are in agreement with one another? That you've reached a unanimous decision? Too right we have. Suddenly, I am properly British. Are you all with me? Yes! Wait! No! No, don't! The defense is in the middle of a cross-examination. To be honest, I was holding out a bit of hope for you, young man. Especially after you identified those few hours that followed the accused leaving the victim's room. Yes, the 3 missing hours, as you put it. But in the end, what difference do they make? None, as far as I can see. And since that's now apparent, there's really no reason to delay our decision any longer. Like I was saying before, if I don't take 5 Bob home with me tonight, the missus will blow her top. What's that? Sorry, I didn't quite catch what you said. Very well. Let the court be apprised of your decisions. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, you will now sling fireballs at my head.
Guilty!
Guilty.
Guilty!
Guilty.
Guilty!
Guilty. All of them missed the judge. He's just too fast for him. All of you? Well, it would appear that the jury is indeed unanimous. So, this time at least, it seems justice will be done. All's well that ends well, as they say. This calls for a toast, I feel. To the guilty being punished. Ugh. Ooh-wah! Get up, Mr. Naruhodo. Mash A and B. The trial isn't over yet. What do you mean, Miss Susato? What about the information I found in the Encyclopedia of British Law? I have, obviously, that obscure right that belongs to the defense in these situations. Remember? A summation examination. Yes, that's right. We don't have a jury in Japanese courts, of course. But here in a British court of law, if we can gyakuten the decisions of a majority of jurors, we can force the trial to continue. This trial can't end now. Whatever it takes, I just can't let that happen. The defense moves to invoke its right to a summation examination, my lord. Why am I not surprised at my learned Nipponese friend's inability to admit defeat? You choose to cling desperately to some archaic rule you barely comprehend instead of accepting the truth. Certainly no other defense counselor in recent times has exercised the right to a summation examination. As a result, they have all lost. Because they all know that once the jury's mind is set, it cannot be altered except in the last 4 cases. Like, we haven't lost once yet. What are you talking about? Nevertheless, the right remains and must be upheld. The defense counsel's request is granted. This court will proceed with a summation examination as outlined in the Encyclopedia of British Law. Thank you, my lord. Are you and your fellows prepared, Mr. Foreman? Like, it's weirder because they brought it up just now. They were like, no defense attorney ever does this. And it's like, I have been here for, like, 4 days I've been in your country, and on each of those days I've done a summation examination and overturned a court case because of it. Actually, more than one. More than one per trial. Believe me, my lord, we all know about this young lad's tenacity, and we're ready for it. Very well. In that case, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, I hereby call upon each of you to state the grounds upon which you find the defendant guilty of the crime for which he stands. I don't think one trial had 3. I think it had 2, but one of them was interrupted. They were like, can we pause the summation examination and do a whole thing? And then when they're like, well, like at the end of the thing, they're clearly guilty. And you're like, technically, still inside the summation examination. That whole sub-game took place underneath the table. The victim may not be well off, but he's a nobleman and straight up. There's no reason to doubt the man. Well, I do declare the good gentleman has no reason to lie. In fact, I think he's rather splendid. Just look at the accused. By comparison, he's Japanese, stoops all the while, and has a mustache. Very fishy. There's no evidence to suggest the gangling actor is a fraudsman, for now at least. Oh, I really don't care, look. I just need the trial to end quickly. Can I object to that? 3 hours of missing time is nothing when you reach my age, you know? Nothing at all. I knew it. Every single one of them seems completely convinced. It would seem that all the jurors have come to the conclusion that Mr. Shamspeare is a fine, upstanding, and honest citizen. If you ask me, they've all been bewitched by his strange theatrical movements. And sadly, nothing Mr. Natsume has said appears to have registered at all. Well, here goes. Let's not forget, I've pleaded with the jury on Soseki-san's behalf before, and it worked, so you never know, unless you do know. Before we begin, it might be a good idea for me to remind you exactly how I wrote the book. I'm the leading expert in the entire country on summation examinations. Nobody in the country or in the world knows them better than I do. No. Should I really let her talk me through it again? No way. The world would turn into sand. I played this game before. Thank you for your kind offer of calling me a dum-dum, Miss Susato, but I've been through plenty of these summation examinations already. I think it's important that we don't delay the start any longer than necessary. Of course, I understand. I'm quite sure you're right. If you're confused by anything, you, one of these days, turn to you for advice. I'll be here for you. The key to this is really listening carefully to each juror's statement. Finding two. Now he's reviewing it. He's reviewing it even though I said I didn't need it. He just had to get that final word in. Without further ado, please, counsel, proceed. Whoopah! Nope, no cheek slap. Too early.
Hold it!
Well, there are plenty of people in London who seem noble but poor. Couldn't some of them also be liars? I've no doubt about it. Like that shaky client of yours, for example. Absolutely not. Mr. Natsume is no liar. Look, the point is, the only thing that passed the victim's lips that night was that Japanese man's tea. When you take the gas man's testimony into account as well, the truth couldn't be any clearer. Oh, well... That's alarmingly illogical, if you ask me. Let me be frank here. I'm a gentleman with a gentleman's values. If it turns out that the old Shakespearean chum is a rotten liar after all, I'd gladly change my decision about the defendant. I'm sure my fellow gentlemen on the jury would do the same. Isn't that right? Well, yes, perhaps, though I don't see it happening. What's that? Elderly gent on the end here, you know. You have to speak up. Look, I really don't care about all this nonsense. I just need this trial to be over. How many gentlemen do we actually have on the jury, then? Alright, sir, I may hold you to that. Don't forget what you said. If you can show me the victim's a liar, I'll reconsider my position. Okay. Are you saying you believe the man to be trustworthy because he's rather splendid? No, that's not what I said. The point is, the man is a victim here. What reason would he have to lie? And yes, he is rather splendid. So you say, yet again. Meanwhile, the man who stands accused behaves so suspiciously it's exhausting to look at him. I'm afraid he's not splendid at all. No maidens either. Splendid logic there, madam. Thank you so much.
Hold it!
What's so fishy about having a mustache? No, not one of those things is a reason to find the man guilty. But he is fishy. There's no point dancing around the fact. He's Japanese, he has a mustache, and he stoops. See, you arrive at the conclusion in just 3 steps. 3 steps, like a waltz, in fact. You know, the more I think about it, the more this trial seems like a dance. You seem to be several steps ahead of yourself, though, and you're on the wrong foot. No, there's nothing but circumstantial evidence here. There's no actual proof of the defendant's guilt. But the victim's version of events is backed up by what the big-chinned man next to him says, isn't it? 1, he saw the Japanese man there. 2, he saw no one else. And 3, he saw the Japanese man there. Oh! That's another 3 steps! All this really does seem more and more like a waltz, doesn't it? Alright, the prosecution will waltz its way to victory if I let you speak much more.
Hold it!
A fraudsman? What do you mean by that, madam? It really is a most tiresome problem for the company, most irritating. We can be absolutely certain that a customer is stealing from us, but without hard evidence, we can't even threaten to take action for fear of being sued. I'm sorry, you've lost me a little there. Who are you? Oh, is she the president of the gas company? And that's why they sent the guy to spy on him? And he actually is stealing gas, and that's why there's a puddle underneath the gas meter? I'm the wife of Augustus Altamont, owner of the Altamont Gas Company.
Good gracious! Altamont Gas, you say?
Gas is the future of energy in this company and around the globe, but proper handling is essential. As I'm sure our employee from the East End branch office would be first to agree.
Absolutely, Lady Quimby. Gotta be used properly. Altamont Gas is the best in the world, of course. Chemically identical to all other gases.
I think we may have solved the mystery of the bow? The bow from earlier? Oh, he bowed in deference to his employer's wife, did he? So would I be right in assuming that the reason Mr. Meterman was watching what Mr. Shamspear was up to in his room? I'm afraid there's no end to the lengths the population of the East End will go in order to steal our gas. So I really have no choice when the company identifies someone as a possible fraudsman, but to dispatch a worker to watch the suspect day and night. We're very thorough in our investigations.
So you mean Mr. Shamspear is...
I wouldn't come out and say it in public.
Oh!
She also has a bee theme. Altamont? That's not a type of bee. Is the name of the company something bee related in Japanese? The guy's middle initial is B. It's something B Meterman. Something B. Is that a type of bee? Also, she has a name now. Queen Bee. Aha. Queen Bee and a drone bee. Finally we understand. He is a drone and she is the queen. The umbrella unlocked the mystery. I wouldn't come out and say it in public, but you can finish that sentence with a grubby little gas thief.
You have noticed the public gallery in here, have you?
The eye of man hath not heard, the ear of man hath not seen. Faith, wouldst thou wound me with thy words, were I to let them penetrate the skin. But seraphs hear not insults, only choirs of angels in song. We may not have the evidence yet, but my workers won't stop buzzing around you until they find it. And when they do, you'll find yourself blasted back to your angelic heights in an Altamont gas explosion. A Gasu Bakuhatsu? A Gasu Bakuhatsu. So Mr. Shamspear has been stealing gas. I wonder, juror number 4, if you wouldn't mind adding that information to your testimony, statement? My pleasure. Was it the bit about ripping that thief apart you enjoyed? A little before the part about abject violence, if it's not too much trouble. Yes, of course. This could be it. This could shift the balance, but I'm going to press on the other guys anyway.
Hold it!
You keep talking about needing to take home some money. What's that all about, sir? Finish last. That's what it's about. What's that? Talking about the Derby at Hyde Park, aren't I? It was the Queen's Cup last week, wasn't it? A Derby? It was a dead cert, that's the thing. I couldn't lose, so I took my wife's secret savings, like. But then that hopeless old mare went and did the unthinkable. That stupid Finnish lass. Oh dear. I think it's clear what happened, isn't it? This is the day the missus uses her savings for a trip down to the pub. So come on, let this business lie now. Just give it up. No, that's not going to happen. 3 hours of missing time.
Hold it!
What do you really mean by that, sir? Well, I'm not one to boast, but I get up at 5 every morning, I do. At 5? Really early riser then, aren't you? What's that now? I said you're an early riser. Oh, well, I wouldn't say that. I like to while away the hours in the evening reading books as well. But by about 2 in the morning, I'm usually too tired to go on. He sleeps at 2 in the morning and gets up at 5? Oh my, that means he only has 3 hours of sleep each night. What's that, dear? Only 3 hours of sleep each night. Oh, that's right, you see. 3 hours of missing time, like I said. It's not much, is it? This really isn't helping. The key to summation, inflation, deflation. Yes, finish last. Not a great name for a horse. In general. Also racing horses. Alright, so...
Objection!
Those two statements clearly contradict each other. Good gracious, to whose statements do you refer, counsel? You mean to whom's? Juror number 1. What are you yelling about, lad? I presume you've heard juror number 4's statement made by the wife of the owner of Altamont Gas? Well, yes. The victim, who you claim to be a noble, straight-up man, in fact turns out to be a common thief. So the good lady says, but there's no evidence, is there? You and I both heard them say as much. It's true, we don't have evidence as such, just yet. But the claims aren't baseless, you know. What? You heard me. Seeing as his operation has already been compromised, I would suggest that the court hears testimony from our East End branch office employee over there. I'll do whatever you say, my lady. Gasman's honor. Juror number 1, you say you're a man of your word. If I could show that Mr. Shamspeare is a liar, you assured me that you would reconsider your decision about the defendant's guilt. Yes, I did say that. As a man of honor, I'll hold to it, as I'm sure the other gentlemen of the jury will. Me? Well, yes. Now that we found out the man's a liar, perhaps we ought to consider the matter further. Well, if I'm perfectly honest, I haven't heard half of what you've all been saying, so if this means you'll recap a few points, that would suit me down to the ground. Oh no, I'm not having any part of this. I want this trial over and done with. In that case, I shall change my leaning. So, Mr. William Shamspeare, if that's your real name, We of the jury demand to know exactly what kind of a man you really are. Can't believe he said if that's your real name. That's 4 jurors. 4 for not guilty. Yes, Mr. Naruhodo. Victory! Order! Order! Well, this is quite This is quite extraordinary, apparently. As a result of the defense's summation examination, the jury's leaning has changed. Now only 2 jurors say guilty, whilst 4 say not guilty. I therefore declare this court to be in a state of disaccord, also known as discord, and order the trial to continue. You have spoiled the bouquet, Mr. Shamspear. The ladies and gentlemen of the jury now find they are unable to trust you, the victim. But you gods will give us some fault to make us men. So God mend me, I do swear. This gas man speaketh that which concerns him most, naught but gas, naught but thin air. Aye, it burneth bright a while, but it hath no substance, and it doth reek foul. Oi, what did you say? Do I take it, Mr. Shamspear, that you deny the allegations of gas thievery? Most heartily, my lord, hast thou forgot I am as a seraph, an angel. Noble of mind, sweet of nature, and verily honest of heart. Ah, you flowery-mouthed, pompous beanpole! Just 'cause I haven't got the evidence yet. Mr. Shamspear, if, in fact, you are not noble of mind, sweet of nature, or honest of heart, if you are a liar, then your testimony should have no sway in this courtroom. It is my considered opinion that at the present time no other possible culprit of this crime has been identified. All the testimony heard by the court thus far heavily implicates the defendant. In short, it would not be unreasonable at this stage for me to rule on the case. Oh no. However, in light of the fact that the jury has expressed concern about the fidelity of this witness, I believe it would be inappropriate for this court not to pursue the point further.
Objection!
I assure you, my lord, that would be a waste of the court's time. The gas and this case are unrelated. Juror number 4. Yes? Didn't you say before that although you had no hard evidence to prove this man has been stealing gas, you have strong grounds for suspecting him? That's right. We do. Don't we, worker? Absolutely, Lady Quimby, Gasman's honor. He has an accent now. I guess. Very well then. We will hear your testimony now. You will tell the court precisely why you believe the victim, Mr. William Shamspear, has been stealing gas. Yes, my lord, it'll be me pleasure. On the Altamont gas name, I swear. If I may, my lord. Go ahead, madame. This worker's testimony may have a significant bearing on the good name of my husband's company. Therefore, I should like to take the stand alongside him in a supervisory role, if you wouldn't mind. Alright, he's super excited about that, apparently. Sweet as honey, yeah. Very well. As an exception, I shall honor your request. Thank you, my lord. You wait till the boss gives you an earful. Oh, it's gonna sting you, mark my words. So you will both testify before the court on the subject of illegal consumption of the Altamont Gas Company's fuel. Yes. Is that clear, my good man? Clear as Altamont gas, milady, which is the clearest in the world. Ah, he said that under oath. Now they're going to jail. It's no clearer than other gas. It's all molecularly the same composition. Do you think the gas has gone to his head, Miss Susato? I think the man is just a very dedicated employee, Mr. Naruhodo. A drone bee. Proud to be the... Oh, Pitch! Pitch, hello! Maybe their gas is actually gases? Isn't it? Isn't it? I didn't think they were talking about liquid gas to heat homes. Is it? I don't know. I'm proud to be the company's East End branch investigator and meter money collection agent. Altamont gas meters accept threepenny bits. Not fourpence or fivepence, but threepenny. I love the word threepenny. Or is it threepenny? Do I even say it right? I don't know. Threepenny bits. Each coin giving customers about 2 hours of gorgeous gas. And yet, the meter in Mr. Shamspeare's room didn't have a single coin in it. The meter doesn't appear to have been tampered with, though, and the collection agent has the only key. Somehow he's using all the flaming gas he wants without paying a penny. If that's not thieving, what is? Oh, you plan to play this in the future? I look forward to seeing that. This has been a very good game so far. Threepenny, I was right the first time? I kinda thought so. Is it the same thing as... Wait. Is threepence a word? I mean, there's tuppence and threepence. Is threepenny the adjective? I don't know how to speak English. Pray, forgive the discourtesy. The irrelevance of this testimony caused me to turn to my hollowed chalice. So, what's the difference between a pence and a penny? Or are they the same? Or are they different? I don't know. What do you mean by that remark, Lord Van Zieks? Did the mustachioed Nipponese poison the gangling excuse for an actor, or didn't he? That is all that should concern this court, and now we must listen to this abhorrence. Clearly, what separates the vast British Empire and your eastern island nation is more than geographical distance. But this could turn out to be crucial testimony. The cross-examination must go ahead. Pence is a plural. Okay. So if there's a coin that's worth three whatever, you could call it a threepenny coin. A threepenny. It is a threepenny. Threepence just means the price? Like I guess? It's like the difference between saying $5 and a $5 bill. $5 is the price. $5 bill is the actual type of money that you pay with. I think I'm getting it. There we go. What you said. Meow! Do what you will. Lord Van Zieks appears to be in a violent mood. Yes, he does. An attempted poisoning, an incident of gas theft with no supporting evidence, and bludgeoning someone with an empty wine bottle. It's true they would appear completely unrelated at first glance. I guess it was only for the last chapter that we were tracking such things. Now we just We just imagine. We just imagine that there's an infinite number of smashes and throws. But I wonder, the truth tends to be buried. But I wonder, the truth tends to be buried in the most unusual places, and the first step in uncovering it will be to establish just who and what this man really is. I hope this case ends with us proving that Sir Francis Bacon was actually Shakespeare.
Hold it!
So does that mean you enter people's houses in order to empty their gas meters? That I do. After you try to catch people when they're in, then I ask permission to come inside and do my business. Does that mean you've been into Mr. Natsume's room before, as well as that of Mr. Shamspear? Well, now, interesting you should bring that up, because I couldn't believe how little money was in his meter. I mean, how the pair of them survived the winter is beyond me. It really is. Knowing Mr. Natsume, he probably spends all his gas money on books. And then when he's finished reading them, he probably burns them for warmth. You will kindly reiterate your statement about the gas meters themselves, Mr. Meterman. Not much to say, really, but as you wish. Threepenny bits.
Hold it!
So, all London houses have a gas supply. All London houses that have a gas supply are fitted with these gas meters, are they? They're the latest model, the height of technology, developed by our company, Altamont Gas. And anyone who uses our gas will have one of these meters in their property, yes. So if a 3p threepenny coin gives 2 hours of gas, most people would use about 3 coins in a night. We call that a threepenny. Or threepence. A nonpence. A bit more than that usually, if they have both gas lights and a gas stove, that is. Thinking about it, Soseki-san doesn't have a fireplace in that room of his, does he? Some people still choose to use candles, of course, and only have gas for heating. Ah, yes, I do remember seeing candles in Mr. Natsume's room, actually. And how does the money in the meter get back to you at the gas company? Every 3 days. 3 days? That's entirely too often. Every 3 days, gas men like me visit properties on the gas supply and empty the meters of coins. I must say, the design and manufacture of the new meter cost the company an awful lot of money. But happily, it did put a stop to people not paying their dues, for the most part. Ah, because they have to pay in advance, you mean? Yes, exactly right.
Hold it!
Out of interest, how long has this been going on? Weeks and weeks. He's been pinching gas off us for ages. You've examined the meter in Mr. Shamspear's room, I take it? Naturally. We took it off the wall and went over it with a fine-tooth comb. And found nothing suspicious at all, I presume. No, I'm afraid we didn't. Which is exactly why I demanded a new type of meter to be produced. One with an indestructible lock. The Shamspear Special. Sounds like it would have cost an awful lot of threepence. But even after all that, the rascal's meter was still empty. I'll never forget the humiliation when I opened up the money box and found it bare. You what? I said, you fucking what? And the look on his face, that smarmy smile of his. I pulled the meter straight off the wall and took it back to the office. But you know what? Nothing. Not a trace of it being jammied open anywhere, not a single sign. And what's happening to my salary as a result? Down by 3 shillings a day, that's what. A life-threatening situation in a number of ways. Incidentally, what became of that meter? Nothing became of it. I've still got it. Oh. Right here. wonder they call you the meter man. I think it would be prudent for the court to sequester this item while the trial is ongoing. Definitely. Although, at first glance, there doesn't appear to be anything unusual about it. Let's move this along, shall we? Continue with your testimony. Though I would say it has as much value as the contents of that meter. Oof! Hold the phone. Hold the thruppeny payphone. I think I have an idea. What if he was carving coins out of ice and putting those into the thing to pay for the gas, and then it melted, and that's why there's a puddle on the floor? I think I've got it. Oh, look at that. What? Have you spotted something, Mr. Naruhodo? Just here, there's a little hole. Do you see it? Goodness, you're right. I wouldn't have noticed. Not a very neat hole, is it? Not professionally made, I'd say. So you think it might have been opened up by Mr. Shamspear? Possibly. It seems the people at Altamont Gas must have missed it. Well, it certainly seems to go all the way through to the inside. Yes, but there's no way a coin could fit through here unless it was a water coin. That's true, but even so, it seems more than a little suspicious. That is kind of like if that is it, that's have I seen that in something before? It's a very sturdy looking padlock, isn't it? And the money box is sealed with beeswax? Okay. So if Mr. Sholmes were to get up to any mischief, he'd be found out immediately. Mr. Naruhodo, mischief of that kind is not the sort of thing that Mr. Sholmes would... You know, you didn't finish that sentence. Well, anyway, it's understandable that the gas company would want to safeguard the money that's rightfully theirs. But it does feel a little over the top, perhaps, doesn't it? Doesn't appear to have been tempered. Whoops, I meant to present. We can do it anyway. There's only one key for all of your meters? Well, in truth, there's another key in the company vault at our main office. But even if someone had somehow managed to get a hold of a key, we'd know if the coin box had been opened. Oh, how? I came up with a rather clever way to expose any little shenanigans, as it happens. Using beeswax. Would you care to explain? Well now, in order to empty your meter, you have to unlock the padlock and remove the cover, but when I close the cover again, I stick a little beeswax seal on it, you see? A seal? Like the sort of thing you'd put on an envelope, you mean? Something like that, yes. Basically, you can't remove the cover again without breaking the seal. Now, in the case of Mr. Shamspear's meter, there were no coins inside at all, as I said. But the seal hadn't been broken either. So that would mean Mr. Shamspear somehow managed to steal coins from inside the meter without opening it? It would seem so, but that would be impossible. So let's go back to here. It has been tampered with.
Objection!
Lady Altamont, I'm afraid to say that this meter clearly does show signs of having been tampered with. What? Get away! I've been over and over that thing. I'm telling you, there's nothing wrong with it. In that case, what do you have to say about this small hole that's been made at the base of the coin box? Oh, what? You're right. You're quite right. There is a little hole there. The meters aren't supposed to have that. None of the others do. In other words, we can assume that Mr. Shamspear secretly opened up this hole himself. Yes, I wouldn't be at all surprised, but why? Yeah, why? I mean, it's tiny. You couldn't get a farthing through that. That's less than 1 pence, I imagine. It's half. It's half a penny. Farthing is half a penny. Final answer. Lady Altamont, I wonder if you could give the court some more details about your meter design? What sort of details? Well, what I'd specifically like to know is how it differentiates coins by temperature. How does the meter tell the difference between different coins? What do you mean? Well, for example, if someone were to put in a one penny coin, that wouldn't work, presumably, would it? No, of course not. So, well, how does the meter know that the coin has been fed is a threepenny bit? Ah, I see what you're getting at now. The meter tells coins apart by their shape and size, which includes their thickness. A threepenny bit is about 3/4 of an inch in diameter, you see. How much is that in non-freedom units? Other coins just won't fit. Ah, I see. It's clearly been very well thought out. The witness will amend her formal testimony with that information in case it is pertinent. As you wish, my lord. The meter is designed for coins the exact diameter and thickness of a threepenny bit. Nothing else will fit. Alright, so I'm having to jump way ahead in logic here, but that thing inside the
I can't
soap.
do it if you're watching. If you...
Cowabunga is here with many friends.
All right.
Hello,
Can't do it
everyone.
If you're leering at me, it's creepy.
Welcome. You caught me in the middle of considering. I think I've just made a big jump forward in the case, and now we have the classic Phoenix Wright problem. Oh, thank you for the follow, Kisu Panteri. Noodle frappe raid. Lovely. I think I've just figured out something in the case, and I now have to do the classic Phoenix Wright bit of figure out what order they want me to have known this in. I think I figured out that this soap that was in his window had some kind of red medallion in it, and it's now gone. I think it was made of ice. And I think... No, wait, no. No, if it was a red oh. Okay. Hold on. I got this. I got it. Why would it have been red? Unless it was the wax. Unless it was, this is the wax that you use to seal it back up? I was so oh no, it's green. Green wax. Alright, never mind. Back to the original thing. The thing that was in the soap is a coin made out of ice or made out of something that will melt. So he gets those somehow, pays for the gas with those coins, then they melt so that there aren't fake coins inside the box. It's just an empty box. But I don't know what we're supposed to say next to get closer to that. I can't just present the soap. No, let's press on. Oh, alright. Certainly didn't expect to uncover another crime that looks like it's been taking place in the very same room. According to the testimony, it's only the meter in Mr. Shamspeare's room that's under suspicion. It does seem as though perhaps it has nothing to do with the incident involving Mr. Natsume. I know, it does seem that way. But the fact is, since I've been practicing law in England, I feel like I've encountered this at least once already. Cases that are interlinked. Oh. It might seem that two cases have nothing to do with one another at first, but in fact they're intimately connected. Yes, we have experienced that before, haven't we? I wonder if this is another instance. Perhaps, but we can't be sure of that yet. If the Altamont Gas Company is investigating Mr. Shamspeare so earnestly, there must be something to it. But then, how has he been managing to steal their gas? Okay, so if I... Let me examine the soap again. Or does it... It's just the same... Oh, no. Oh, there's no check mark now. So I wonder if the dialogue's going to be different now. They're going to be like, you know, this impression is the same size and shape as a threepenny bit. A threepence coin. 2 centimeters across, or 3/4 of an inch. Do you think? We did find this soap at the scene, didn't we? Yes. Yes, there were 2 bars on that little ledge just outside the window, so we took this one. Or maybe it's not soap, maybe it is... I mean, maybe it's not ice, maybe it's soap. And so he puts the coin in and then he like pours water in the coin slot so that it dissolves? Could be. But I'm sure that when we first found it, there was some sort of reddish medallion in the middle there. I remember it clearly. Yes, but there's no sign of it now. Where could it have gone? Alright, so now that would have been frustrating if I had just presented the soap and they were like, what the frick is soap for? Lose some hit points. And it was like, oh, because I needed to specifically change the description so that it said it's a 2 centimeter diameter hole. Now I can present it.